Welcome to the Putting You Back Together Again show. I'm Rochelle Booker, aka Coach Ro.
And I'm CJCEEJAY, her part-time co-host. I'm back in the building, y'all. Coach Ro, what's on tap tonight?
Welcome back.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Well, on today's show, we are talking about idolatry. How do you know if you are an idol worshiper?
And we're not talking about idle as in your car just idling there.
Yes, that's right.
No, we're talking about fashionable things.
Yes.
Huh?
Well, sit tight because we're going to break it down for you.
Yes.
For starters, the definition of idolatry is when you worship someone or something other than God as though it was God, and God makes you, and you make someone or something higher than God, more important than God. Okay, y'all, this is getting good, which becomes excessive devotion to or reverence for someone or something. Basically, you're just replacing God.
Irreplaceable.
That's right. And God is the one. We talked about that on Sunday, being the one.
The one.
The one and only.
The one and only.
That's right. That's right. The true and living God.
Yes.
So do you fit that definition? Well, let's take a deeper dive into what idolatry looks like, the types of idols, and you'll have a better picture of what idolatry really is.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, I to be sure, you know, we just don't dive into subject matters. We have to do research, study, and things like that. And I did exactly that. Not that I didn't know what idol worshiping was, but I wanted to expand my knowledge so I can speak truth to power. Now, I want to read something to you.
What's
tell
that?
me what your thoughts are.
Tell
This
us.
may sound familiar to some of you people
I'm sure.
who have a keen ear to a certain somebody.
Right. Talk to us.
It says, "Baby, I love you.
Go.
You are my life. My happiest moments weren't complete if you weren't by my side. You're my relation and connection to the sun. You next to me, there's no darkness I can't overcome. You are my raindrops. I am the seed.
Wow.
You and God, who's my sunlight.
You and
No. Let me
back up. Yes.
press pause, rewind, and press play.
Yes.
You and God,
That's right. Wow.
who's my sunlight.
Oh,
I'm
my
blooming,
goodness.
grown so beautifully. Baby, I'm so proud. Proud to be your girl. You make the confusion go all away from this cold and misty world. I am in love with you. You set me free.
Obsessed.
I can't do this thing called life without you here with me. If you know what else I'm going to say, say it out loud.
You can finish that sentence. I'm sure the rest of the people.
Because it says, I'm dangerously in love with you.
That is dangerous.
I'll never leave you. Just keep loving me the way I love you.
Oh, wow.
Now, that song was the jam back in the day, and probably still is on some radio waves.
Probably is.
You know, but those are some powerful lyrics.
Yeah, you and God.
You and God.
That's what got me.
You,
wow.
not just you know, brighten up my day.
Yeah.
You make a little smile come to my face.
Right.
You give me joy in my heart.
So
she used is and a conjunction.
Yeah.
Conjunction.
What's
right?
your function? And so she's equating this person with God on the same level.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
My goodness.
And hence the title of the song, Dangerously in Love.
In love.
Now, to be sure, those are lyrics, that's entertainment, and we're going to dive into that as well.
Yeah.
But that is something that borderlines on idol worshiping, because you're worshiping the person that you're
That's
singing
right.
with.
I don't know about borderline. They could cross the line.
Right? So
yes, that's exactly, and that's a good segue because I was going to talk about the types of idols. And number one on my list is people.
People.
Oh my goodness.
People.
It's so true.
And I know one thing you may speak on is worshiping a person but also to a point where you're following that person
Yeah.
to your detriment.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because
Right.
that's another topic we're going to talk about is the danger of idolatry.
I
That's
mean,
right.
it is
It is.
dangerously in love, right?
It is.
I mean,
It's exactly it. That's a good way to put it. It is. And people, again, it can be a spouse,
Yep.
right? A girlfriend, boyfriend. It can be a pastor. How many people worship pastors?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're supposed to love them, give them reverence, and be respectful. We're not supposed to worship pastors.
No.
And there are people who really believe that pastors walk on water.
Nope.
No, they don't.
No,
No, they don't.
I'm here to tell you, they don't.
No.
Because a lot of people, including yours truly, have been hurt by pastors or ministers in church.
Well, get in line, because I have been too.
So,
yeah.
But, God is forever healing.
That's right. He's a
the
healer.
Total Rapha.
Yes, he's a healer.
And I'm so glad. I know. I just told someone this other day. I know I'm not worthy, but I'm so glad he doesn't treat me as such.
I know, that's right. Thank you for his grace and mercy.
Yes.
So don't worship pastors, guys. And too many people in these churches worship pastors, and we got to break away from that. That's not healthy. And God is a jealous God. He created us to worship him and glorify him and him only.
Mm-hmm.
The pastor is simply a messenger and the under shepherd. He is not Jesus.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I'm going to leave that alone.
Okay, you want to move away from that? Okay. And what about celebrities?
Oh my goodness.
That is just.
Oh my goodness.
It is unbelievable.
And this is a celebritism, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I may create a word.
Yes.
Has been going on for a very long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Decades.
That's true.
Probably even centuries.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Right? Where someone is in film or TV or music or modeling or whatever the case may be, where they have national exposure because of maybe a talent that they have, and that they're able to express that talent that you pay for.
Yes.
And you fawn over that person.
Yes.
No. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Don't do that. No.
I mean, they can say anything and it goes viral. They can say, I'm hungry, and that goes viral. I'm like, are you kidding me? They get 1 million likes. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yes, don't do that.
Don't do that.
That falls under the category
of people. And if you are telling that significant other that you can't live without that person, that's your idol. Chances are, back to the opening of the show, how do you know if you're an idol worshiper? If you're saying, I can't live without you, boo, you are worshiping that.
I can't live without you. Yes,
you can.
And I can live without you.
That's right, because you were living before you met that person.
I'm serious.
Are you? I mean, seriously.
And let me just add this.
Yeah.
And shout out to Tim Keller and via Pastor Jeffrey Poore. Tim Keller says anything that becomes more important than God, anything that absorbs your heart more than God, anything that absorbs your imagination more than God, is idol worship.
Idol worship. That's idolatry.
So it's not just that golden calf.
That's right. Yes, more than that.
That we, especially when you're talking to a Christian, right, or anyone who knows something about the Bible, right.
That's right.
Because you don't have to be a Christian to know something about the Bible.
That's right.
But anyone, when we talk about idols, that's the more likely than not. That's the first thing that comes into place. Is that golden calf that was fashioned by the Israelites because Moses was up chilling with God, minding his. That's right. As somebody says, his holy business.
That's right. And going up for the 10 Commandments.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Exactly. And Aaron, his brother, was like, they said, Aaron, where's that man named Moses? He's left us. Yeah. They got tired of waiting for him. I mean, seriously? Make us something that we can worship. Yeah. Now, didn't God just bring you out of Egypt? That's right. And by a day by a pillar of cloud, and by night
pillar of fire.
And
you're gonna worship a golden calf.
And then once they fashion the calf, right?
Yeah.
They thank the calf for bringing them out of Egypt.
That's right.
No, you can't do that.
A statue delivered them. Are you kidding me? The living God delivered them from Egypt.
You can't do that. Yeah. So anything that absorbs your heart, your imagination, and it doesn't have to be something that's fashioned. Well, we're really anything. Actually, anything that is fashioned by hands or by machine.
That's right.
Because they're innate objects.
Yes, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, it could be objects too. Yeah, not just people.
Not just people.
And that was my second point: material possessions, power, money. Come on now. How many of us worship that? Wow. But you bring up a good point back to the biblical history, because that was on my list too, with that story, and then also with the prophets of Baal. So that's a whole nother. Yeah, Baal. Well, BAAL. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like 2 Corinthians, right?
Yes.
So that was a whole nother thing with Elijah, and then the prophets of Baal, and so with the bull and making the sacrifice, right? And so Elijah said, okay, let's put my God, the Lord God, to the test against your God Baal, and let's see who is really God.
Yeah.
So we all know who answered the prayer because they both prayed.
Right.
So God is the only one that answered the prayers from Elijah, and the prophets of Baal didn't answer any prayer. He couldn't deliver any fire.
Yeah, when he rained down fire. And they kept
They
kept shouting.
Yeah, they kept shouting. Dancing, were they dancing too?
Come on now.
Where you at, Bill?
We out here sweating. And the only thing Elijah had to do was speak a word.
Speak a word. And
God delivered.
And God delivered. I think they were cutting themselves too, doing crazy stuff. That blood didn't deliver anything. Yes.
Oh, boy, that's funny.
So yeah, that's a good one. But back to the material possessions. Yeah. Oh. Okay, Jason Morgan.
Oh, you know what, Jason? You're absolutely right. And I got a personal story on that.
We were guilty of that at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Matter of fact, let's put a pin in it. Thank you for joining in, Jason, and anyone else who's tuning and listening in. We greatly appreciate that. I'm putting you back together again, show. Give us a call, Jason.
Yes.
832-560-2885. Come on and dial in at 832-560-2885.
So tell us who or what you worship.
Well, it wasn't a worship, because one of the things is you're replacing God with something else, right? And sometimes it's not worship, but you're trying to fill a void, right? So let's say, for instance, two people in a relationship, one is not getting what they want from that other person. Right. So then they step out to find something to fill that void.
That's right.
Right. And so they're replacing that person. One of the things that I replaced when my father died on Friday the 13th in 1990.
Oh, goodness. Sorry about that.
No, listen, all in this time.
Yeah.
But there was a huge void left in my life.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was searching to fill that void at the tender age of 17, 18 years of age.
Yeah.
Teenager. Okay. So I was seeking something.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came up was religion, because as kids, we are taught what our parents believe, good, bad, or indifferent, right? Hence how racism and discrimination is taught.
It's taught. It's learned behavior.
It's learned.
It is.
Right. Yeah. And so I was seeking to fill that void of the death of my dad.
Yeah.
So when I joined the Navy, I met a couple of brothers and who were Muslim.
Oh.
One was Orthodox, one was NOI, Nation of Islam.
Right.
And that started to help fill that void. I started studying Islam many years ago.
Oh, wow.
Right. And
did you meet Mr. Louis Farrakhan?
Well, no. Because I never said which way I went. So, but again, I was seeking and fighting to find something to
Yeah.
replace that void.
Yeah.
Hence,
It was deep.
and not going to God. Now, even though it was still in the line of religion.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's a great conversation to be had all about Islam and things like that. I still have great respect because it comes from.
At least they do believe in Allah. They believe in God. So it's not like you were seeking like drugs,
No.
marijuana.
I'm so glad I never,
exactly,
drugs or alcohol or anything like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that was my void.
Yeah.
And I've told that story a few times, not publicly. So there you go.
Oh, now you know. Keep it a secret. Don't tell anybody.
But it was a great life lesson learned.
Yeah.
And he can take you on different journeys.
He can.
Right.
He really can.
However, comma.
Mm-hmm.
I am back underneath the tree.
Yeah. Amen. Yes. And we can tell a tree by the type of fruit it bears.
Yes. So great point, Jason, I believe it was.
Yes.
We all
experience that.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Right. So the key is, okay, if you recognize that, then it's time to turn your attention away from the thing that you are idolizing and putting your gaze, your attention on God.
Yes.
So that needs to be the first thing that you do. Not like, well, it's okay. No, it's not okay. Right. Because the same way that, and opposite to the golden calf story in the Bible, we've got 3 Hebrew boys who refuse, right, to bow down to that golden statue, right, to King Nebuchadnezzar's statue.
Exactly.
That's right. And because of that, they wanted to commit and be faithful to God. They were thrown in that fiery furnace. Right.
And if you don't know the story, and I literally just read it this morning, and
not for the first time here.
Not for the first time. But you read, there's so much in the Bible. You can't retain it all.
There's a lot, and then I learn something new every day. Yeah, you can read the story 10 times.
Exactly, you can't retain it all.
Like, I didn't get that the first time.
But the one thing that was pointed out, I mean, it's funny to me. But you talked about how they were thrown in the furnace.
Yeah.
Nebuchadnezzar was so livid, so angry, so pissed off to the highest of festivity that he turned the heat up
all the way up. Yes.
7 times that. So when the guards, went up to throw Shadrach, Meshach,
and Abednego
into the furnace, they died. Because they burned up because the thing was so hot.
And then he said, wait a minute, didn't we throw 3 boys into there? I see 4 people in the furnace. So God can get in there with us. But hey, on the flip side of that is you don't want God to throw you in that furnace because you are, worshiping somebody other than him.
Now,
he may not get in there with you.
Now, I'm not sure how Nelly got his inspiration, the rapper, but maybe he read that passage and says it's getting hot in here.
In here, really hot, because you're burning up. Yeah, but thank God he delivered those Hebrew boys, right?
I'm so stupid.
No, that's what they were thinking too. It's hot, but guess what? And then they came out with the smell of smoke.
Not a hair singe. Not a hair singe. Now, one thing I would want to point out is, and as we go along, as we talk about idol worshiping, it's not that the things that we worship, that they were bad things. It's basically when a good thing becomes an ultimate thing. Because again, your spouse,
you have to have it.
Your spouse is a good thing.
Yes.
But when that spouse becomes an ultimate thing where you forget about God, that's a problem.
Yeah.
When you want to get in shape, right, and you go to the gym and started eating right, but going insatiably to the gym, but that's all you think about. You
live, eat, and breathe.
Live, and you're now consuming time away from your loved ones and from God. That's when a good thing becomes an ultimate thing.
That's right.
And you have to become self-aware. And sometimes it's when we're in the moment, sometimes it's hard for us to see past the moment. But that's when you have to become self-aware.
That's right, you do, and that's how you grow.
And that's
how you mature, you grow, and because you've got to make some changes to transform. That's what this show is all about, is transformation.
Yes.
Transformative Tuesdays. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
So you've got to recognize that, and have some self-awareness. But it doesn't do any good to say and then but just overshadows what you just said.
Yeah.
Right? We know about that, but
that but is a different but.
It is in the Bible. That's right. So own it. And so we're talking about accountability too. You got to own it. You can't change something that you don't acknowledge, right? Yeah. And idolatry, bottom line, is that you worship the creation, but not the creator. So when you're worshiping creation and not the creator, that's idolatry right there. It's black and white, guys. Yeah.
And and speaking of, you talked about people, and that person could also be self.
That's right, ourselves.
So that's one of my items.
Yeah,
is identity.
It's on mine too. That's right, identity.
Right.
Yes.
Identity. If you are more into now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Primping ain't easy.
Yeah. We're self-confident here, but
primping ain't easy.
I'm wearing my crown, but I don't idolize myself.
Yeah.
I love myself, but I don't think that I'm better than anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's a level of confidence.
Yes.
But then
not arrogance.
Not arrogance. When you cross that line to arrogance,
that's good.
Because he will provide humility for you quickly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh, we have a comment.
You have a comment?
Proverbs. All right, Jason. 3, 5, and 6. Solid book of wisdom. It sure is. Thank you, Jason, for that.
Jason, brother, call in 832-560-2885. I mean, if you're in a position to call.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure where you hold up. If you're in a position to call, give us a shout, brother, because you are chiming in with some golden nuggets and not golden calves.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Oh, that was good. So we even have a show. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I know our audience is, called American Idol. I mean, it just goes back to our point. There's just so much of this been going on for years and years and years. Yeah.
Another thing, and maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, did you touch on money?
Yes, money, power, wealth. Yes.
Sometimes we're so busy chasing that.
Oh my goodness.
That makes us want to holler.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to admit.
Yeah.
I've chased the dollar.
Yes.
I'll be the first to admit. But I'm not so consumed with chasing the dollar that I'm not giving him the glory.
Amen.
Right?
Yes.
That's a topic right there.
He's telling his story. Yeah.
That's a topic right there. That's a sermon topic.
And you're right. And it's not, everyone needs money. We need money to survive and to live. But it's the love of money that's the root to all evil. Money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So no, that's a good point.
Yeah. So you have to, and you're right. We do need money. We do need money to, take care of ourselves, take care of our family, take care of our household, to have some fun, right?
Yeah.
To go on trips and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But you don't want it to consume you so much that, again, it absorbs your heart.
Exactly.
It absorbs your mind.
Right.
It absorbs your thoughts and your imaginations and things like that.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes idol worship.
And you're always chasing something, chasing. It's like you're chasing the wind. Because when is it going to ever be enough? Whatever you're chasing, when is it going to ever be enough? You can be a millionaire, but now you're like, now I want to be a billionaire. And when is it? You can have 3 women. Now I want 5. When is it ever enough?
Yeah.
So if you're chasing the wind, chasing the wrong thing, your idol, you will never be fulfilled.
Like when?
When? I know. Where is it?
That's in Proverbs 2, Jason.
Yeah. Come on, Jason. Give us a call.
What else you got?
Yeah. So we said people.
Yeah.
We went through that. We said ourselves.
Yep.
We said material possessions.
Yep.
And then, and we also know about the whole social media thing.
Gosh. You know what?
That's just, it's out of control.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
guilty.
I mean, people posting thousands of selfies every week.
Well, it's
I mean, one or two of
because
you.
they're chasing
Attention.
the likes. Now,
exactly,
right.
the likes.
Now, and someone may be, someone, CJ, you post, someone thinks I post all the time on social media.
Oh, you don't post that.
I don't even have Facebook on my phone. Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I have scheduled posts because social media itself, it can be a rabbit hole.
It can.
I'm like, with social media, I'm like James Brown. I hit it and I quit it.
I'm glad you say hit it and split it.
I hit it and I quit it. Yeah. I go on mainly in the mornings.
Yeah.
Go down the, what my timeline is.
Yes.
Do my clicks, likes, comments, etc. Right. Make my post. I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. You don't see me till the next morning.
So now back to the whole likes. If you're doing it and that messes up your whole day because you don't get enough likes, you wanted 100 and only got 10, that is, chances are that's your idol.
Like, man, I should have gotten more likes.
I know. I mean,
because that post I posted 2 weeks ago got got 150.
Oh, it's a joke.
But I was showing some leg. But this one I didn't.
Yes.
You can't do that.
And that messes up their whole day because it's unbelievable.
Yes. Yeah. Listen, social media didn't give you your J and your joy.
Thank you.
And it can't take it away.
And it can't take it away.
Unless you allow it to.
Right.
Idol worship.
Idol worship. And if you're spending hours and hours a day back to the things that are important that you are neglecting because you're allocating more time to social media versus your family or God, going to church and reading the Bible, that's your idol.
Yeah. If you wake up in the morning and your first activity is not to the restroom,
the phone,
not to going to get a bottle of water because, we sweat at night, what have you, but is to go to, not to pray, but to grab your phone and see what you missed.
Yes.
Honey, you haven't missed anything.
Yeah, they're scrolling through their phone. It's unbelievable.
Haven't missed anything.
Even before you say a prayer, if God didn't wake you up, you wouldn't have woken up. So wake yourself up.
Yes.
And sometimes, you know what? Back to the idolatry, we can have so much education, have so much intelligence, attain so many degrees. We begin to think that we did it by ourselves, and we're giving ourselves all the credit. We are self-made. We are successful because of what we did all on our own. So you're not giving God any credit? Right.
No. And oftentimes people will ask me, why are you doing? Oh, I'm outstanding. By His grace.
By His grace, exactly.
And again, not to say that I'm holier than thou, I'm a Bible thumper, because I am not. But I know where my praises go to.
That's right. And I do it all throughout the day. I don't just wait on Sunday morning. 7 days a week. Throughout the day, I pray. You've got to.
Yeah.
Because God is just that good. Yeah. And so idolatry is anything that challenges God's sovereignty. His sovereignty. So, and we want to focus on the dangers of idolatry. One of the things I have is it leads people away from the truth and into deception. Yeah. So,
Well, and I'm going to dive into some of this later. But yeah, you can be led astray
easily
by, especially what we talked about earlier. If you're following someone who is quote unquote having some gospel being preached, and it is not the gospel
the truth
of truth. Yeah, they're not speaking, but they're speaking their own truth to
people. Oh my goodness.
Right? Yeah. But that can be very dangerous and can lead to deceitfulness. And to your detriment. So beware of false prophets. Yeah, you're right. Because some people call themselves a preacher. I don't know if God called, some of these people to preach. I don't know about that. Yeah, as my Aunt Lily Mae would say, she this has been some years ago. She says, well, he was called to preach, but I think he just got a phone call.
Lily Mae was
shout out to my aunt Sweet Potato Pie.
She was on to something, I'm telling you. And also the dangers of idolatry, it distracts believers from, or it distracts from what you should really be focusing on, and away from your relationship with God.
Yes.
So any distraction that leads you away from worshiping God, that is an idol.
And one of the things I discovered, and I didn't really think about this as an idol worship when I was doing my research, but someone brought up comfort.
Oh.
Right. And actually, it was two different people on two different platforms that brought up comfort. Now, we like to be comfortable because right now we have the AC inside the studio, the lights, shining, everything like that. We're not sweating anything like that. We're comfortable.
Right.
When we get in our car to take us from point A back to here, back to home, or wherever our destination may be, we're driving, and the car, the shocks and the systems are a go. The radio, AC, we're comfortable. We get back to our homes, AC, lights, cable or satellite, streaming, what have you, food, provisions.
That's right.
We're comfortable. But we can't get too comfortable.
That's right.
Where we are idling, worshiping those comforts of life.
That's right.
And when they brought it up, I was like, that is very interesting, because I would have never thought about comfort being something that we can worship and replace God.
Yeah, you're right. And then what happens is we start to take God for granted, and those things that we have for granted, right? And so that's when your worshiping starts to diminish. Worshiping God starts to diminish because people do get complacent and comfortable. Right. So it's not until God starts removing some stuff from you to get your attention, then that's when you're like, oh.
Well, you know what?
Wow.
I'll tell you what, let's put a pin in that, and I want to come back to that. We're going to go on a commercial break because we got to pay some BILLS. Okay.
Be right
so
back.
We're going to go into the commercial break. Brother Malcolm, holla at us with a commercial break, sir.
Stick with us.
We'll be right back. Welcome to the Putting You Back Together Again show.
Yes, sir.
In the world of law, there are no shortage of lawyers, but one that you can trust, that list is short. The law office of Evelyn Gordon is one such lawyer that you can put your trust in. Ms. Gordon has over 20 years of experience in the legal field and over 14 plus years as a practicing attorney in family, estate planning, and probate, guardianship, and appeals. Her care, compassion, and concern for her clients is unrivaled, and her team is dutifully dedicated because your family matters to them. Her litigation and trial practice experience are expansive, and with the complexities of estate planning, her level of comprehension is profound. One such client states, quote, "Perhaps the most effective attorney in the city, as my case appeared to be hopeless, but she won." Close quote. To have the law office of Evelyn Gordon on your side, please contact her office at 713-489-3397, where your family matters to them.
Welcome back to Putting You Back Together Again radio show on Real Talk 100 with Coach Ro and CJCEEJAY. We're having a great conversation about idol worshiping.
Yes.
Are you an idol worshiper?
Yes.
Huh? Give us a call, 832-560-2885. Now, I'm picking up from what we were just talking about, that God would take some stuff away and what have you. But sometimes we may not get the point, because King Darius, he knew that his father Nebuchadnezzar had stuff taken away from him. He had to, eat, grass like an ox, and had the dew on him, and things had to grow long nails, because he was an animal, right? Because he would not acknowledge God.
Yeah.
Darius knew this and was
better.
doing the same thing. So even though sometimes we are hard-headed with God, I know I've been.
Yeah.
Right? I know I've been. And he'll knock on the door, knock on the
to get your attention.
But did I listen?
No. And we've all been rebellious.
Yes,
Humanity has been rebellious against the Israelites were rebellious. So this goes way back, and they were the chosen people,
Yes.
right? But thank
Yes.
God for His great mercy.
Yes. You know, one of the but continue with yours. I'm going to double back on some other things that can be idol worship as well.
I want to definitely jump into your list, but I was just going to add to that point about you talking about the animals. I did some more research, and anthropologists suggest that at least 18,000 different gods, goddesses, and various animals or objects have been worshipped by humans since our species first appeared on planet Earth.
Entities.
Isn't that a lot?
And they're probably being conservative.
Yeah, it's probably a lot more than that. Yes.
About 180,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Let's talk about your categories of,
Well, I've run down some already. We talked about identity, money.
Yes.
Entertainment.
Yes.
We touched on it a little with, celebrity as far as a person, but entertainment could be, and don't get me wrong, I am an entertainer. That's part of my industry. I am an entertainer, but it also can not replace God.
That's right.
Right.
Yes.
So entertainment could be another idol that people can worship because they can't get enough of it. Right.
They can't get enough of it.
Even the people who are performing the entertaining.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just had an epiphany. I was watching, this had to be Chicago PD or maybe Chicago Fire, where the psychologist on the show was dealing with a doctor who was using a high potency of drugs to cure cancer. Well, this doctor had a God complex.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
That he thought that he was God.
Oh, wow.
Because he was healing people. Right? Little did he know that God created him and gave him the knowledge and the know-how. But that's another show.
That's a whole nother show. Yeah, but he doesn't have the power to heal. Now, doctors have the medicine and they can perform surgeries, but God's got the power.
It's the reason why they call it practice medicine.
That's right. So let's not get that twisted.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. What else you got?
Now, this one.
Uh-oh.
This one here.
No.
We're going to talk about sex.
Oh.
Sex.
That's a good one.
Can be something that people idol worship where they can't. We had this, when I was in the band in high school, we had a band that mirrored different HBCUs. Bethune Cookman, shout out to them. FAMU, shout out to them, and all other HBCUs around the country. And, there was this one song, Can't Get Enough.
Yeah.
Of that funky stuff. So if you're in a position where you can't get enough of sex, I hear over there, Brother Malcolm.
Yeah, Malcolm,
when
you're
you
laughing.
Can't get enough, when it absorbs your heart,
all you think about,
your imagination.
All you think about, you can't live without it. And you know what? I'm proud to say that I've been celibate for, let's just say, a long time. And so, to that point though, people, hey, I thought she said you guys aren't idol worshipers here.
We're not.
So you can't.
This is breaking news.
I just said that, breaking news. I just said that if it's something you can't live without, like sex.
Well, I have not.
But you're married, so that's different. So I'm single, so I am practicing celibacy. So I am very proud of that. It takes a lot of discipline, but it really does. But a woman of God, that's what I believe in. And when I get a ring on my finger, then we'll break that streak. But until then, but it's something I do take seriously. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes, because because
that can be very powerful.
It's very important to a lot of people.
It is, because
if they can't get, I want to say their hands on it. They feel they can't get through their day.
Or their hand in it.
That hand in it, hand on it, hand all through it, right?
They
This
can't get
is
to their
this is not your PG-13 show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
And at least at
So
this
go put
juncture.
the kids in the room.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Lock them up.
But
That's true.
yeah, the sex is a component that can be considered an idol. worship.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you are always thinking about sex, Adida is the correct pronunciation,
Mhm.
but it's, Americanized
Yeah.
Adidas. When I was growing up,
Yeah.
that acronym stood for All Day I Dream About Sex.
Sex.
I'm not sure if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I used to love Adidas.
I'm telling you.
It's come back too. People starting to wear it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I grew up knowing what Adidas stood for, and it
Yes.
probably had nothing but, the hood version, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course.
But if you are dreaming about sex
Constantly.
and it
Yeah, so
consumes
true.
your life, where you cannot
Function without it.
your idol worship.
Your idol worship. Now, in some cases, people have addictions, and sex is an addiction. So now, if that's the case, back to you, it's constantly on your mind. You're consumed with it. Maybe you need to get some help, some therapy
Yep.
to
Yep.
help you with that addiction. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
Seek therapy.
because you need deliverance from that. Those are spirits that are on us. We need to be delivered from.
Yeah.
Those drinking is an addiction. Sex is an addiction.
Even we didn't touch on this.
Uh-huh.
We slightly touched on it in regards to materialistic things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's even break that down even further. Shopping.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where a person may be a shopaholic, where
That's
you
right.
go out and buy 2 or
Yeah.
3 or 4 of the same thing
Things that you don't even need.
that you don't need,
Right.
and all you can think about is shopping.
Yes.
And you bring those things, and 5 years later, it still has tags on it.
Yeah. Anymore. Yeah.
No,
So you're just
that's idle.
impulse
Yeah.
buyer. And some people do shop a lot to fill that void. Back to what
fill
you were
the
talking
void.
about.
Exactly.
You've got some emptiness, and you're trying to fill that emptiness with shopping
shopping or
and-
food
or sex
or
or
anything like that.
anything other
Listen.
than God.
Other than God. He is the ultimate. I usually say sometimes in my prayer that I'm grateful that he's a
Yeah.
gap filling
Oh,
God.
yes, he is.
He is an ultimate gap filler.
Yeah.
Whatever gap you have,
Yes, he'll fill it.
he's able to fill that gap.
Yes.
So what else you got?
Yeah, no, that was good. That's powerful. The addictions, because that's sometimes people don't realize, back to self-awareness, that they do have an addiction.
Right.
And so
Right,
if you,
exactly.
you got to take a step back and do some introspection and reflection.
Mhm.
And if you start to realize, this is heavy, I can't seem to get this off my mind, I'm constantly thinking about it, consumed with it, it could be an addiction. You've got to get some help for it, because then otherwise you're going to be trapped into that cycle of idol worshiping.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to give another quick story, and before I give this story, let me just put an asterisk here.
Okay.
If my seamstress is watching, nothing against you. I love your work.
Uh-huh.
Don't fire me as your client.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So I'm in the shop one day,
Uh-huh.
and I've always seen the golden Buddha,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh,
I always seen the golden Buddha in
Yeah.
the corner, just chilling,
Uh-huh.
with a fat belly and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the Buddha. Is that the Buddha?
I think so.
Is that the
I'm not
Buddha?
sure.
Okay, it's the Buddha.
I think so.
Okay, the golden Buddha. And so one day I go in to have some things altered or whatever, or pick up one of the two. And she comes out
Uh-huh.
with a small little tangerine
Uh-huh.
and a cup of coffee, I believe,
Oh.
and place it with the Buddha.
Oh. Wow.
And I said, I was taken aback. I was almost speechless.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well,
What are you doing?
is he hungry?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Thirsty?
And so she placed the orange and the coffee
And the coffee
to
next
the
to the
Buddha.
Buddha.
I said,
Okay.
well, what is
that?
what is that? Now, mind you, she is from
She's Buddhist.
from Vietnam,
Oh, Vietnam.
Right?
Okay.
and a lot of times religion has to intertwine with your culture.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
true.
then that's another topic for another day.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, what is that for?
Yeah.
is he going to get hungry throughout the day? She says, well, no, just an act of, she didn't say worship, but just an act of doing something.
Oh, really?
Now, let me explain something very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
That tangerine and that coffee, unless a vermin comes by, will be there.
Buddha can't consume that
until the end of the day, because that tangerine, will spoil. That coffee will evaporate. But the creator of the coffee beans and the tangerine will not.
Yes, he's the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Immutable. Cannot be changed.
Cannot be changed.
So that just took when I thought about that. I was like, that golden Buddha can't consume that tangerine or coffee. Because it's gonna be there. Until the end of the day, the next day, and the next day after that, until they evaporate or spoil.
That's true. And back to the whole point too with shopping, and that's back to the idol worshiping ourselves. Because not just the emptiness we're trying to fill, the gaps we're trying to close, but also when we idolize ourselves, we want a lot of this attention. So we go and buy stuff that we don't need, try to buy all these designer clothes, expensive clothes. For what? For attention. Go in debt for attention, because we want people to notice us, to give us compliments. So why are we focused on all that? If you just love yourself and you have confidence and self-love and know your worth, you don't have to go and put yourself in debt or go on impulsive shopping sprees to try to impress other people who probably don't like you anyway. I mean, it just, it's just that vicious cycle.
A couple of points as we get into, giving solutions and things of that nature. Idols will fail you.
Yes.
They will fail you. Yes. And any idols that I didn't know was an idol in my life that I was worshiping, putting before God, it failed me. To be sure. It failed me. And then I can speak into the future.
It will fail you again.
It will fail me again.
Yes.
Right? So, but idols will fail you. Now, again, preparing for the show, shout out to Jackie Hill Perry, author, Bible teacher, public speaker, and some other titles. She gave a sermon about idol worship.
Oh, okay.
And one of the points, she had 3 points. One of the points, she mentioned that idols are limited. They're limited because, and the way she explained it was, they're created. And we already touched on this. They're created by the Creator.
That's right.
He doesn't have any needs.
That's right.
Because everything that we need, He's created.
He's created,
And in fact, in Philippians 4:19, all of my needs shall be supplied according to His riches and glory.
Not just some, all.
Because everything that we need, He's already created. So idols are limited.
That's right.
And what they can do. Right? You can pick up, I'm just going to go back to the golden Buddha. You can pick up the Buddha, put it in this corner. It's limited to get over to this corner.
That's right.
Because it can't walk.
That's right. Come on now, preach.
It can't walk. So they're limited.
Yes.
Another point that she brought up was they're local. They're local.
They're not omnipresent. They are not everywhere at the same time.
They're not omnipresent.
Come on now.
Restrained by space and time. They cannot travel, well, they can travel with you, but they have to have assistance by you to travel with them.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
So they are local. The third point was they're lifeless.
Oh, that's good.
They're lifeless. They cannot breathe life into you.
No.
They cannot take life out of you.
That's right.
Right? Just like the Buddha, it does have eyes, but it can't see. It has ears.
Can't hear.
But it can't hear.
Yeah.
It has a mouth.
Yes.
But it cannot speak a word.
Yes.
They're lifeless. and the dome is fashioned to give a synopsis of having a brain.
Yeah.
But they can't think.
That's right.
They're lifeless. Now, I would add a fourth point to that.
Mm-hmm.
They lack.
That's right.
They lack. They can't provide you anything substantive to fulfill your life.
That's right.
That will really fulfill your
it might be temporary and fleeting, but it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
It's not.
So they lack, because he basically says, I am your shepherd that I shall not want. And see, for a long time, I didn't realize I shall not want, the King James Version.
Yes.
Like, okay, what does that mean? Until
Reverend
Postman.
I will not lack anything.
Reverend Postman says, lack.
Yes.
Lack nothing, because he is our shepherd that we shall not want lack. So an idol lacks.
That's right.
Can I give you what he can give you?
That's right.
So shout out to
That's
Jackie
powerful.
Perry on
Yes.
that, for that
I love
word.
it. Yes. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So enriching. So empowering.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you want to take your focus off of these limitless gods that you're worshiping and put it on the limitless God? Right?
Yep. You know, you just said limitless. There was a movie called Limitless, I believe, where you take a pill and whatever I think your strengths are, what have you, you become limitless.
Oh, wow.
But then that pill wears off.
It wears off. So it's temporary. Back to the temporary gratification.
Right, that pill wears off. If you are just now tuning in, or if you have been tuning in, we're putting you back together again. It's your Coach Roy, CJ, CEEJAY. If you have not called in, give us a shout, or even chime in the chat section at 832-560-2885 as we prepare to close the show. But give us a call.
Yes.
832-560-2885.
Turn off the gymnastics for the next 10 minutes or whatever's on for the Olympics, and give us a call or put some comments in the chat.
Yes.
So now, and then back to some other things that we do worship. What about our careers and jobs?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you touched on entertainment, but even outside of that, I mean, if you have to have a director's title or you've got to be a VP, it's too much of that goes to our head, and we talk about arrogance. It does make us arrogant at times.
And speaking of career, and you just dealing with being an actor and an entertainer, where back in the day, and hopefully this is not happening now, hopefully this has gone way beyond us, where someone would promise, so I'll get you on this show if you do this with me.
Oh, wow.
Right? And then you start worshiping that person who has the power to do something that you want to be done as far as getting on a show or whatever.
Right.
And again, I hope that we're long past that.
Yeah.
But that used to happen back in the day, where you're wanting to be on a show or advance your career so bad that you're willing to give up something that is sacred to you.
Yes, that's right. So back to that, why should we defile ourselves and compromise? And that can even be back to sex that we were talking about.
Exactly.
People will give that up just to have that man or woman come around.
Exactly.
So you're defiling yourselves, and you're making these sacrifices that aren't not worthy of what God is asking you to do, not worthy of who God is and worshiping Him.
Right.
So we've got to be careful in not compromising in the negative sense like that. And of course, in a healthy way, you compromise in relationships, but you don't compromise to where you lose your commitment to God.
Yeah. And again, we all have come short. We all have been in situations where there was a time in my life where I ran from God. Yeah. I ran from God, but I'm so glad and so grateful that He gave me that grace and mercy.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
To continue to now acknowledge Him and give Him the glory and all the praise. Now, a couple of questions that I again, doing my research, and shout out again to Jeffrey Poor. Questions to ponder.
Okay.
In regards to to knowing if you are an idol worshiper. Where do you spend your time?
That's right. We talked about that. Social media, in the mall shopping all the time.
Where do you spend your time?
That's right.
Question 2. Where do you spend your money?
Yes. Are you tithing at the church house?
Yeah, I mean, are you spending?
But now you can be a tither and still be engaged in idolatry because there's some other things you can be.
Absolutely. I mean, are you making it rain
Yeah.
at Club Nouveau? Is there a club called Nouveau Malcolm here in Houston?
I haven't been. I haven't been on the club scene.
So is that it sounds like a gentleman's club?
I just made it rain. If you make it rain, if that's not where you're spending all your money.
Yeah.
Because these idols on the stage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And they're just throwing the money out.
Throwing the money out. Question 3. Where do you get your joy?
Yeah. What or who's giving you joy?
What or who are giving you what it seems to be joy?
Okay, now there's a difference between joy and happiness, because happiness is about what's happening.
Yes, or something that happens to you.
That's right. So, and that's temporal. That's temporary.
Right.
That's not like joy, where God gives you pure joy. The world didn't give it to you, and the world can't take it away.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So when you're on that job tomorrow, maybe tonight, and that coworker, that colleague, that manager, or whoever is getting on your last nerve. I mean, you can just feel the nerve twinging, right? Realize they didn't give you your joy, and they sure cannot take it away. They didn't even give you your life. They didn't even wake you up and correct. Why? Don't let people steal your power, take your power away. Don't let anybody take your power. It happens all the time. Yes. Last question. Oh, we have a comment?
I have a question. I don't want to cut CJ off.
Let me get my last question if you don't mind. Last question. Question 4. What's always on your mind? I just had another epiphany. I'm a big song reference guy. Whether it's gospel, rap, R&B, country, rock, or whatever. When I just said that, I just got a tweet. Oh, what's the tweet? What's the tweet from heaven? SWV. Oh, yes. They said, you're always on my mind. Yes, yes, that's right. So what's always on your mind? Yes. Are you like that SWV song? You're always on my mind. Well, that's something: the clothes, the sex, the phone, the social media, the money, the money, the positions, etc. Is that always on your mind? Is it absorbing every fiber of your being? If so, it's time to let it go. It's time to let it go. If so, it's time to let it go. Well, who was that? Gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. Yeah, gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. Brother Malcolm, chime us with your question.
My question to the panel is, what are your thoughts on, since the topic is idolatry and worshiping idols, what are your thoughts when people say worshiping Christmas, worshiping Christmas is worshiping idol gods. Other people say worshiping, you brought up the Buddha, they also say worshiping God or Jesus is worshiping idol gods. What are your thoughts? What's the panel's thoughts on that? Christmas? Well, I'll take Christmas. Sure. Now, Christmas has become very commercialized. I do agree with that, but it's not not just a day, it's the birth of Jesus. That's what we're worshiping. Because without the birth of Christ, I mean, we wouldn't have salvation here, because he wouldn't have died for us, because he never would have been born. So, Christmas and then obviously Resurrection Day, Easter, are the two most important days for Christians. The birth of Christ and, the day that Jesus gave his life, gave the ultimate sacrifice. So if you're a believer, those better be the two most important days of your life. And then of course we know Pentecost Sunday where the Holy Ghost came and descended and empowered us with his spirit.
50 days later.
Yeah, that's right. So no, it's not worshiping a day, but it is I think commercialized, where we've lost the importance of Christmas to now all we do is shop, give gifts, want gifts. Right. And kind of Jesus Christ has gotten lost in all of that.
Right. Yeah, and it's not
Christ is Christmas.
worshiping the day, but the reason why the day is celebrated, right? And you're right. It has become commercialized.
Yes.
It's been commercialized for
Yes.
decades,
That's
right? But you have to be careful on when it comes to that Christmas time. Celebrate the reason for this.
For the season. That's right.
Yeah, and we'll buy gifts and give gift cards, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
But if I
I
can't,
look forward to getting something from
get in line.
I'll be the first in line. Yeah. I'm second. Third.
But if there have been some times where, it was a lean season.
Yeah, things are tight. You can't buy something.
Right. And that's okay, because we're not worshiping the person that we're buying it for.
That's right.
We're worshiping the reason for the season.
Yeah, and people get caught. People will fall out behind that if someone doesn't spend enough money on a gift. If they didn't get a Gucci bag, a Chase bag, a Chanel bag, or a Coach bag, it's like,
well, here's some advice.
Get over it.
Yeah, well, get over it.
Yeah.
And here's some advice. If you're planning to buy things for Christmas, do it now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait to the last minute and spend all your money.
Yeah.
Put it on credit cards and things like that.
Yeah.
Go into to debt. Or put some money back now.
Yeah.
And start saving for that day. But don't forget the reason
for the season. Yeah, and we are supposed to be givers because God gave His only begotten Son. So if God gave, we're supposed to be giving too. So there's nothing wrong with being generous, but you don't have to be out of control.
Yeah. Now, if you think you're getting
so you think you get something, I'll give you something for Christmas, but I'm not going to give to get. I'm just a generous person.
That's that. You know what?
You're not going to accept my gift.
Like, what is this? I don't want this. She ain't spending enough. Well, listen, it is 1 minute past the
he's
top.
got one last question.
Oh, you have another question, Alpha?
We had two questions.
No, that it was two-pronged. I asked.
Did we answer?
I asked. Yes, y'all covered.
Okay.
I asked one. What are your thoughts when people say you're idolizing Christmas? You touched on that, and then the second part of the question was your thoughts on people idolizing. Some people say you're idolizing an idol god when you're idolizing Buddha, or you're praying to Buddha, or you're praying to Jesus.
That's idol worship.
That's in worship.
That's idol worship.
That's idol worship.
Yes.
But they liken that to praising God, praising Jesus. These are some conversations I've had before.
Okay,
because that's
their
God.
Well, okay. So what's the difference between a Buddha and God?
You're asking me.
Yeah.
The difference between Buddha and God.
Let me just give you a really quick answer. One is an innate object, and one is omnipresent.
Mm-hmm. Omnipotent, omnipresent.
Repeat that again, please.
One is an innate object where you have to, someone had to create Buddha, right? And whoever created that Buddha or fashioned that Buddha was created by who?
Man.
God created everything. God is
created
the creation.
man.
Yeah, God is the creator. Again, back to my point about don't worship creation, worship creator, the creator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's what CJ just wrapped up.
Yes.
So
yes. Take us out.
Okay. Well, we're a few minutes over. Thank you. This has been a powerful show.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So hopefully this has been an eye-opening experience for everyone. They've been able to do some reflection, or will do some reflection, introspection about if you're an idol worshiper. And if you are, CJ and I talked about what needs to be done.
Right.
So, and we paint a very vivid picture of idolatry. And if that's something you're practicing, we encourage you to take your eyes off the idol and fix your eyes on God. That's first and foremost. He created humanity to worship and glorify Him and Him only.
Yeah.
Why? Because He's the one. And he is a jealous God. We talked about that. He says, "Don't put no other gods before me." So you don't want God to throw you in a fiery furnace, as we talked about, because he may not get in there with you, if that's the case. But be faithful and committed to God, to the one who actually breathed life into you. Right? Yes, he did. He didn't have to create us, but he did because he loved us. He actually first loved us, and that's why we should love him and give him glory, honor, and praise.
Yep.
So thank you, guys. That does it for us.
Yes.
We love you. And also remember to love yourself, and be sure to follow us and like us on social media. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Until the next time.
Yes.
That was another edition of the Putting You Back Together Again show. We want to make sure you go and you follow Life Coach. Putting You Back Together Again can be found on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Yes, all social media channels. Yes.
All social media channels. Tell the listening audience what it is you do right quick, ma'am.
Executive coach, professional coach, radio talk show host. I do life coach as well. I have my own travel agency, so owner, founder of Press Toward the Mark Travel Agency. And I just booked a tour to Greece and Turkey for next year. So if you guys want to go, hit me up and I'll get you registered.
Cruising down the river.
Yes.
There you have it. And CJ, tell the listening audience what it is you do right quick.
Well, of course, I'm CJ Joseph, CEEJAY. I am an actor, entertainer, performer, radio host, podcaster, voiceover, producer, and breaking news coming soon.
Oh, can't wait to hear it.
You can follow us at cjjoseph.com.
Yes.
Go on there. All my handles are on there as well. Appreciate the shout out, Malcolm.
Yes. And can I have the inside information? No.
Well, you
I
already
tried.
have it, actually.
Oh, I do?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you forgot, that's shame on you.
Thank you. Take us out, producer.
All right. It was another edition of the Putting You Back Together Again show on Real Talk 100 Radio. We'll see y'all next Tuesday night and every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Good night, everybody.
1, 2, 3.